Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Chris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is Childcare Rockstar Radio, episode 100, featuring Allie Brown. We did it. We made it. A huge milestone has just been achieved, you guys, at episode 100 of Childcare Rockstar Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in and making this a top-rated, top-followed preschool podcast, business podcast. I have loved so much being the host and working on my interview skills and getting to meet so many cool people in our industry and outside of our industry here at Childcare Rockstar Radio. We made it to episode 100 and I'm celebrating today with you, and also celebrating because I'm bringing a really amazing woman to the podcast today as our guest. Allie Brown is a woman that I have followed for many years. Her podcast is Glambition Radio. If you have not checked it out, she is a female entrepreneur and a coach for 7-figure and 8-figure successful female entrepreneurs. And she provides really incredible insights around business, leadership, marketing, and so much more at her podcast and at her website. Her website is alliebrown.com, ALI-Brown.com. Definitely go check her out. I am in a coaching and masterminding group with Allie at The Trust. And The Trust is a emerging mastermind group of women who are making 7 figures and 8 figures in their businesses. And we are collaborating and masterminding and meeting all sorts of really high-level women globally. So very, very blessed and excited about being in this group with Allie and friends. And I'm actually flying to Miami in about a month to be with them live. And we have some incredible speakers on tap, and just excited to further my journey with Allie. And so I wanted to bring her to you today at episode 100 here at Childcare Rockstar Radio, because it's a pivotal moment for me, and she has a lot of really cool stuff to share with you. We're going to dive into that in a moment, but I wanted to also share with you some important things going on for me. So we started this podcast back in late September of 2017 and didn't know what it would become, kind of just had a dream, had a vision for what I thought I could bring the world in terms of early learning business. And there's no other podcast like this. There's no other place for business experts and leadership experts, both inside ECE, mostly, inside the world of early childhood, but also outside, to bring us new perspectives and fresh ideas. And I'm very proud to have one of the top rated podcasts in the space, and coming into, I think we are approaching 80,000 downloads, if not more. So pretty soon we'll be reaching 100,000 downloads of this podcast and touching so many of you. And I've met so many cool people through the podcast that had never heard of us and never heard of the Childcare Success Academy and never heard of Chris Murray. And so being able to drive our story and our success into a whole nother platform has just been exponentially cool and really, really smart for the business. Because many of you who have come into coaching with me have done so because of what you hear right here on this podcast. And today is no different. So I'm going to share with you a couple of inspirational reviews, testimonial stories from people who are working with us. And I want you to listen in, because I'm also going to share with you what people are doing right now, what's working right now in early childhood businesses across North America and beyond. We were just together in a 3-day mastermind meeting, our quarterly conferences in the Child Care Success Academy. And I just got home a couple days ago from the beautiful white sand beaches of Sand Key, Clearwater Beach, just outside of Tampa, Florida. And we all flew in. And the cool thing about this meeting that we just did is that it was a full hybrid model. And thanks to COVID, thank you, COVID, we had to pivot and we had to figure out a way to still pull off a live meeting where everybody could be together in person with masks on and still having fun, but socially distanced. And also accommodate everybody at home that didn't want to travel yet. And we did it. We had an amazing AV crew and did a full-scale hybrid meeting. And so the 100 or so people that were live with us at round tables, sharing, laughing, dancing, learning, and being fully engaged and away from their businesses, just soaking it all in and being so grateful to be together in person. In addition to the 250 or 300 people in Zoom world who were with us collaboratively. So we were running a full-scale hybrid meeting where the virtual folks would come in and be able to do presentations to us in the room, and then vice versa. And then through chat and through sharing of the interfaces in the AV, we were able to all feel like we were together. And this is the first time that we were able to do that for close to 400 people and over 250 businesses now, over 250 early learning companies and organizations in the academy, and 8 coaches, including myself. So I'm very, very proud of what we've built. And the vast majority of this growth has taken place since this podcast started in late September of 2017. So many of you have been featured on this podcast. Go back through the episodes, find ones that have lots of really good reviews, stars, and listenership. I could point out several to you that I think are the best of, but I won't take the time to do that. But just continue catching up on episodes, and you will learn things from every single episode that you take the time to listen to. So with that, I want to honor the people that were with us at this meeting live, and I want to also thank the people that came in virtually. Sorry that my phone keeps going off. I have it in Do Not Disturb, and I don't know why it's doing that anyway. Technology, what are you going to do, And I want to share with you what people are doing from that meeting. So when we were together in the Academy conference, these past 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Thursday was for our Empire level only. It's a closed door, highest level in the program, Empire only. And then Friday, we were all together. And then Saturday, we had our Directors Day. So we had our owners in one room, and we had our directors in another room. And our director training was off the chain good. I was feeding into them. Our coaches were feeding and pouring into them. We were working on tour skills. We were working on staffing issues. We were working on confidence in leadership, communication skills, so many things, how to run great meetings. So many great things on that day. So not only am I going to share with you the big takeaways from the meeting, but I'm going to share with you that if you're looking for a forum where you and your director can be more collaborative and more on the same path towards success, and you want to inspire and motivate her or him to rise up with you and level up with you alongside you on this journey, there is nothing that will take your company further faster than pouring into the leaders of your team and up-leveling their leadership, helping them up their game and their energy around how they show up at your schools. Period. The end. And the folks that have gotten the most out of this program are the ones that bring their leaders with them, their directors, their admin team, and let them soak it up. and then they go home and they kick butt together. And that's the difference maker. And that's what we do. And that's what we did at this past meeting, again, with a higher number of directors than ever. So some big takeaways that people are actually putting into place today, which is 48 hours after we left the place. So much action is being taken. They're on fire, these owners and these directors. They're on fire together. So one of the common themes was using virtual assistants, finding and using VAs, virtual assistants, to take stuff off of your plate that is draining you and drowning you and keeping you stuck in overwhelm. From entering people's information into ProCare and Bamboo HR and hiring, doing those initial phone screen interviews, all those front end pieces of your hiring, working on training and onboarding videos, working on stuff for your website, working on your e-packets, calling competitors and doing some mystery shopping, putting people into your bright wheel. I mean, the list is endless, you guys, for what you can and should be using virtual assistants for. And we have resources. Many of us are using them in the Philippines and other cost-effective places where we can hire great talent for a very small fee compared to what the United States is paying. That's number one. Number two, a big takeaway, big topic of conversation in our private Facebook group is enrollment specialists. So a lot of our folks are using and hiring somebody on your team to keep their eye on the ball at all times on your enrollment. So having an enrollment specialist who is the right person in that seat to attract and build relationship and rapport, a sales go-getter, somebody who loves picking up the phone and talking to parents and engaging people, and then who can do the back-end stuff in your CRMs and in your data flow around your enrollment and follow up with families, follow up. Send cool stuff and gifts out to families who are just on the hook and about to enroll. So many ideas that you can be using and should be doing with your enrollment specialists, social media campaigns, et cetera, so much. And then finally, team collaboration tools. One big takeaway is that so many people are interested in really stepping up their game with regards to team collaboration and using digital tools. Two of the best in class are Microsoft Teams, which we got a 10-minute talk on in our Empire Day from Jenny V. Shout out to you, Jenny. It was awesome. How she's using Microsoft Teams is insanely great. And Slack. And we here at our company use Slack. There's a lot of functionality built into Teams. They have a Zoom-like component. They have a project tracking and task tracking component. And so much more is all built into Teams. So that's worth taking a look at, as well as having a virtual team building functionality like Slack, again, which is what we use. But it's great for culture. It's great because your team members will start throwing hearts and emojis and sharing funny stuff, because you can have a water cooler channel or a random channel or a fun channel in addition to your work-related channels. And it's great for building your culture and for getting more done and being more productive. And it keeps everything out of your email inbox and into this platform over here. So those are just 3 things I wanted to share with you today at episode 100. Using VAs, using enrollment specialists to the highest degree, and using team collaboration tools. So I want to read you a couple of success stories. These are things that have just come in, were just posted into the private Facebook group inside of our academy, and I thought that they would give you some inspiration. So the first one is from my friend Kay Boning in Huntsville, Texas. Shout out to you, Kay. And I want to read to you what she wrote. She says, I want to say that I accidentally found Chris in August after listening to many different podcasts and webinars since March. 2020, from all kinds of people. I have a degree in fine arts with an emphasis in advertising. I got tired of that. And I was 21 hours away from sitting for the CPA exam when I started having fun teaching my 18-month-old son. So I dropped working on my business degree to change to education. Sound familiar? I have a master's degree in education and I'm a certified Montessori teacher. So when I got my first coaching call, I told Brian, don't bother trying to sell me anything because I ain't interested. So she signed up for a strategy session. We teach you guys that all the time. So we ask you guys all the time, if you want to get on the phone with a coach in a strategy session, hit us up, go to childcaresuccess.com and click on book a strategy call. Easy peasy. Or discovery call. Sometimes we just call it a coaching call, what have you. So Kay was like, I got on a coaching call with Coach Brian and I said, don't bother trying to sell me anything because I ain't interested. After listening to a few days and mostly what I thought was a sales pitch, I saw a comment in the chat about, because she went to the summit. Sorry. He honored that request and he did not give me a sales pitch. Very good. But I did decide to go to the Child Care Success Summit, which, as you guys know, was virtual this year. After listening, I mostly thought it was a sales pitch, but I saw a comment in the chat about resources. We try really hard not to make it a sales pitch, but whatever. So I asked, what is that? Then I found out some of the benefits you get from being a member. So back to another call with Brian. And I said, show me the members area and give me the sales pitch. I signed up right after the summit. I started trying to implement some of the ideas in December. Finally, I got really started in January. Our phone has started ringing. We've been giving after-hour tours almost every day and have had 15 children start already in January. We are expecting 5 to 10 on the 1st of February based on people saying they're coming. I had said at the 1st of January, we would have 70 more kids by July 1st. And now I firmly believe we will make it. Just finished being in person in Florida at the conference I was just telling you about. I have my February list made out of things to do. I am proof that you can teach an old dog new tricks and that the tricks actually work. I can't wait to see where we are at the end of the year. So thank you, Kay, for that. And then Jennifer from Miami, Florida, Jennifer Leon says, after an amazing weekend in Clearwater with the most amazing, in caps, people, I'm feeling motivated and refreshed. Thank you, Chris, and all the wonderful people I had the opportunity to meet. Looking forward to Las Vegas. That's where the Summit 2021 is going to be. It was recently announced, if you haven't heard. We're going to Vegas, people, October 14th to the 16th. So then she checked off everything that she's gotten done since she got home. Now, this was 72 hours ago that we all left. Core values, check. Unique benefits, check. Testimonials and reviews, check. Parent and staff referral program, check. So that's what she did, working on her business in one day. In one day. And so when people are like complaining and whining about how they can't get it done and they're in overwhelm, people are getting it done. People in our group are, for a day, sequestering themselves from their business and working on their business. Shit, you could even just stay in Florida from the mastermind meeting and come home a day or two later and get it all done in your hotel room with a view of the ocean to drive you forward. Whatever you got to do. Okay. So proof in the pudding from these ladies and hundreds of others. We do what we promise. We are here to help you. We're here to inspire your teams. We're here to help your directors feel confident and have happiness when they walk into those schools. And it is a game changer, let me tell you. So I'm inviting you again, one more time. If you were with me on our challenge, you were with me at the summit, you weren't with me at all because you just met me, you have no clue even what we do, but you're curious. come have a strategy call. Coach Ben is doing most of them now because Coach Brian retired. And I want you to just jump in with one tiny toe and see what we can do to help you have a different life. childcaresuccess.com. Click on book a strategy call or book a coaching call at the very top of the page and come on in and learn more about it. And if you don't want a sales pitch, we promise not to give you one. We just want to help you. And you have my word on that. And we'd have a guarantee in the program. We promise you're going to triple your investment in the first year. There's so much that I could say, but I'm not going to even go there. So that's it. That's what I wanted to tell you. Here at episode 100, there's nothing more important for me to say to you listening to this podcast, especially if you've been listening, thinking, maybe that could be me one day. Or I want to start a school. I'm in startup mode. Let me come in to this academy and start building out these assets so that I can have a full school pretty darn quickly after I open the doors, if not on day one of opening the doors. We've worked with dozens of members who have had 90%, 95%, 100% enrollment the first day they open the door. It is possible. Just work the asset checklist that we will hand you inside of the academy. Okay, without any further ado, Allie Brown, my guest today here on episode 100. Yes, I'm excited. Yes, I'm super jazzed. We made it to this amazing milestone, and I'm really excited for you to meet Allie. She's a firecracker. She's a go-getter. She's a powerhouse. And she takes us back to some crossroads moments in her life. She talks about the power of creating more influence in your life and how to go do that. She talks about running a fast growth, fast-paced company and how that feels. She talks about why 2021 is the year of female entrepreneurship. Very powerful. And there's stuff in this episode for you too, guys. It's not just about the ladies. So let's dive in, shall we, to episode 100 here at Childcare Rockstar Radio. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to episode 100. We made it to triple digits, y'all. And this is Chris Murray, your host of Childcare Rockstar Radio. I'm so excited to bring you my guest today, Ms. Allie Brown. Allie is someone in the space of female entrepreneurship and general entrepreneurship and kick-ass marketing that I have been following and loving for so long. And I'm so grateful to be in her amazing mastermind group of women, 7- and 8-figure women at the Trust. Allie, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good. This is fun. It was fun too to remember that you and I actually go way back.
Yeah.
We didn't. I knew you from somewhere. I couldn't figure it out. It was from the old Dan Kennedy days.
It was from the Renegade Millionaire Retreat, and he brought you up as a young rising superstar, and I was in the audience, and I was like, oh, I want to be like her someday.
Well, isn't it? Don't you think it's so good we got started in that time before? We learned the real deal. The real marketing, real business, and it still serves me today. It's obviously done well for you too.
Absolutely. What I learned from Dan Kennedy about writing copy, standing apart, being a celebrity brand, being a thought leader, and all of the things that he teaches on the direct marketing spectrum are just so valuable today for you and I.
Yeah. And I want all you ladies listening to know we put up a lot of inappropriate jokes for all of you to learn, sit in these rooms and learn from all these guys. Oh my God. Another time.
Yeah. Let me tell you, inappropriateness. This was pre-Me Too.
Totally. Yeah. Like there's no way they get away with that stuff today. We just roll our eyes and be like, okay, back to the marketing. Come on, guys.
Whatever. I could tell stories. We both have a lot of okay, we won't go there.
We will when we see each other for sure.
Exactly. And I can't wait for that. So where are you sitting right now? Where are you?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona at what we now refer to as the compound, because after lockdown, we're like, wow, it is kind of like we don't leave really. Like we just bunker down.
Yeah.
Which we got this house and we thought, we're like, if we almost tried to leave because we're like, maybe it was a little more than we needed. And now we're like, oh my God, no. Like with the space, I got my mom here in the back. We're homeschooling the kids. I had the employees here today. Fantastic. We love Arizona.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And it is wonderful to have a home that is spacious enough to accommodate all the pieces and parts and relatives when they come in and team members. And we have the same thing. We have a blended house of 4 teenagers, and one of them has thankfully gone off to college, but when he comes home, but it's so funny because we'll go instantly from like 4 teenagers, ages 15 to 18, all of them,
I can't imagine.
To nothing. Then they all leave and they all scatter and go off to their separate like friends and all. And then we're like, Charlie and I are left like, oh,
yeah.
Wow.
What's that
energy.
like?
Yeah. Like, I'm so happy. We only have you and I, babe.
I just can't imagine. I got a long way to go.
Yeah, you do. And so tell us about your home life. Your kids are old?
I have 7-year-old twins. They turn 8 in May. This has been an interesting year. My mom, one of the reasons we grabbed this property, actually, even though it wasn't exactly what we wanted, was my mom, but there's a full 1-bedroom casita in the back that's handicapped accessible. Moved my mom in. Well, we moved here 7 years ago. Had no idea how helpful that would be as well, having her here during this time. Because we take care of her a lot too and keeping an eye on her. And and there's people going in and out all day. Like, I hope no one reports us. There's always like 6 cars in the driveway. Our neighbors are probably like, what is going on? Like, Arizona's pretty lax, with the gathering, and like we're together all the time anyway, my employees. So, it takes a village, and that's our crazy home. We love it. And the kids are downstairs getting homeschooled, and we have a great girl that comes to the house. We found a great local college girl, and she said, oh, I'd love to do this. And so she's here in the mornings, and then the afternoon, one of us takes them to the park, or we have someone help with that. And, it's a messy, but we've had a really amazing year, actually, in the end, when you really look at, what we've discovered about ourselves and things we hadn't seen coming.
Yeah. And I recently listened to your kind of 2020 in review, what we've learned, the members of the trust and myself, what we shared on our last call with you, insights and deep sharing for 2020. And one of the things that you shared about your kids was the homeschooling thing, which when you first think about it, it's quite daunting and almost, like I can't even believe that I would even entertain such a thought to be homeschooling. Yeah, never, ever.
No way. Lunches were packed, scoot them out the door, like that. And then the big relief, right? Yeah. That was what I thought it should always be, and they'd be happier that way. But it's interesting. I shared a bit about this. The first half of the year, we kept thinking, okay, well, maybe we need to do this like it was if they were in school. And now we're so detached from that model. And it's actually an exciting time. You and I in the pre-chat, I was telling you that I feel especially education is going to be completely reinvented the next several years. I think this was this education and the opportunities there for all of you in that category in business are going to be huge, because people are going to be saying, you know what, that old model never really worked anyway for most of us. What can we invent? What are different types of schools we can invent, different types of solutions? And that's going to trickle down to even early childhood and things that parents see that they could do for their children and give them opportunities in different ways. And so I just think it's actually such an exciting time. And I keep bringing up education on almost every interview I do as one category that is ripe for those of you who are creative and problem solvers to start creating some new models and methods. And I know, Chris, you lead the way in that.
Yeah, we have been working with folks very diligently and excitingly on innovation and doing different things on hybrid models and online preschools. And they've all shifted how they do high level, very, very safe COVID related care. with parent drop-offs and shoeless environments and all sorts of things and virtual Zoom tours of their facility. And they're rocking it. I mean, they're literally converting almost every Zoom tour or FaceTime tour that they're doing. And so we've had to shift though, like how we do our enrollment and sales process and invite parents in to learn more and see a peek of our preschools has completely changed because there's no parents left allowed in the building right now. So just that one little piece of how you do business has completely gotten flipped on its lid. So many people out there, innovators, and we don't even know what's coming. That's the cool thing I love about 2021, where we're sitting right now is the sky's the limit, think bigger, and energetically call to you what you want in your life and believe that it can come and really step into that. And we'll talk about that kind of shift of what's going on in 2021. But that is exciting. And I've actually got inspired listening to your podcast about that, which is Glambition Radio. For those of you guys listening that haven't checked out Allie's podcast, it's amazing, Glambition Radio. And the thing you said on there was just those pieces about don't hold back, think bigger, this is the year, jump in. And I got inspired by that and just got out a blank pad of paper and just started thinking about visioning and what I really wanted for my life. And so I'm so happy to be in the trust with you and these other amazing women, because I think when we meet in a month and a half in Miami, we will be really working on that as a tribe, as all of us will be thinking about, like, where do we really want to take our life? And then also, what do we want to do less of?
Yeah.
Addition through subtraction, my mother calls it. So I love that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Quote your mom.
Yeah, please do. Barbara, shout out to you, Barbara. She'll like that I said that.
Thanks, Barbara. All right.
So share a fun fact, Allie, about you, something about you that hardly anyone knows, which is probably impossible because you have your own podcast and you have like 250 episodes or something. So we know a lot about you, but
yeah. No, I won't share that. It's scary these days. So anything could be conceived as political. So I'm just not even going to share it like something. So let's see. I actually love cooking and baking. People may not realize that because I have like two sides to me. I have like glam CEO and I drive off in my Porsche and then I'll come home and want to be barefoot stirring sauce. Like I love cooking for me. Just, I think it just shuts off my brain because I can get very anxious and I overthink. And especially now I'm doing sober what's it called? Dry January.
Yeah, I know. It sucks.
And by the way, it's great, but I'm so clear. My brain is going so fast.
Yeah.
It sounds so funny, but, also the energy of the air is just so intense that I also can get very anxious. And so when I have a recipe and I'm holding food and food that's grown from the earth, especially, there's something very grounding about that and making a meal for my family. And it's just a totally different zone. And I also have this secret homestead fantasy. Like when I get stressed, I'm like, maybe it'd be easier to go raise goats and chickens and,
live off the grid.
Not have to Instagram my life, and I have that secret, like escapist. Everyone has one. What's yours, Chris? Like escapist fantasy? What is it?
To completely unplug and like go live on an island somewhere like Jamaica
and like weave baskets, right?
Some little remote place off the shores of Bali, go weave baskets, do yoga, meditate, and make love all day.
Beaded jewelry.
Yeah. Beaded jewelry.
Yeah, make some beaded jewelry. Yeah, we all have that. And when I start thinking about that too much, I'm like, I think I need to balance a bit.
Yeah, I think I have like an eat, pray, love fantasy with Elizabeth Gilbert. Like I want to go eat everything I want in Italy. Then I want to go pray and become a monk in India. And then I want to go to Bali and just hang out and be a gypsy girl and, run around on the beach. So
I love it.
All right, let's make it happen. That's 2021.
Add that to your list. Maybe 2022.
Yeah, I wrote it down. Yeah. So take us back to, you have shared in your history and your story, the crossroads moment in your life regarding where you were in your career, early days, and mustering the courage to kind of leap in when you leaped into internet marketing and online marketing, playing mostly with the guys. You were one of the female voices, thank goodness. And, many of us women play it safe rather than leap in and risk the fear of being talked about, seen all that negative chatter on social or wherever, people in your life, your parents may be going, you can't do that, honey. That dream is for other people, not you. So how did you start really accomplishing, because you've accomplished so much in your life? Where did the leap take place?
I've always made leaps out of a place of disenchantment. Like and I think everyone leaps in different ways. Like some people are so inspired, they leap. I would get quickly kind of restless. And I see that now as a good thing, because if I stay in the same place too long, it means I'm not using my creativity and I'm not where I really should be. And so that happened for the first time when I was at my last job at this little ad agency in New York. And this was a job that I loved because it was like it was literally this little ad agency midtown with 8 people, and the partners were gone all day doing pitches. And so we all had to jump in and act like I'm basically run the business. And that's when I started feeling like, oh, this is kind of fun. I like the variety. Like I'm doing everything from designing stuff for the client and getting it in FedEx to calling the people to come fix the fax machine. And I just love that. And, then I moved into freelancing because I realized I could take the skill that I'd gotten good at, which was copywriting, by the way. My first book I picked up was Secrets of a Freelance Writer from Bob Bly. And I remember getting that at like the Barnes and Noble. And it was something like how to make $100,000 a year as a freelance writer. I remember I had it in my book and someone saw that. They're like, yeah, right. And then, I left and had done that within like a year. Because I realized I had pretty good skill, and I knew I was pretty smart. I had some things to figure out, but I just figured it out. And honestly, I was young and had nothing to lose, right? And there's, if you're listening and you're younger, especially ladies, that's the time to like just go for it. Because now it's funny, as you get older, you do and have a family, and I'm taking care of my mom and all this stuff. Like the decisions have a little more weight to them, for sure. So, but I'm still driven the same way. And I'll get in those creatively stagnant places and be like, oh, my business development has always followed my personal growth. And it's not the same for everybody, but for those of you who kind of get that, you'll get this restless feeling and you have a purpose and you have a mission and you feel like either, okay, I got to raise my game or change my game or have some fun, maybe build this business to sell it and then do something else. And, so that's where the leaps have really, really come from. I think one leap people may have not understood was when, I was a single for a long time and then met Brett, my current husband, when I was like 41. And to be frank, quickly got pregnant, not thinking I could. Who does this happen to with twins? Okay. Right. Just to be frank, like this was like the immaculate conception. Like my mom was like, what just happened? Like you, what? Like,
yeah, not just one baby, but 2, Allie, really?
Yeah. Like where did this come from? And I saw this as the biggest blessing in my life, by the way, totally healthy, full term, like just this great guy. And so all this stuff started happening. And I built this business that was, here was the challenge, Chris, is that this business was running great. We had great clients. It was making all this money. But I wanted to walk away. Like I was feeling very personally called in a different direction. I missed my genius. I wanted to get back to working with the high-end clients and that high touch, small group stuff, and made some hard decisions over a few years where I really decided to follow more of my bliss than what was correct on paper. And that for me, when people say, what was the hardest thing you've ever done? They usually expect me to say, when I walked out of that job, when I went on stage for the first time. And it was honestly having the courage to shut down something that was working because it just wasn't, I know it wasn't taking me where my purpose needed to go. I had some exploring to do. Yeah.
You were having gaps in fulfillment and, or just this maybe discontent or just wondering what was on the other side. And your life was also changing so much with these 2 babies and a new husband, and you just needed to go in a different direction. And you did, and you made it work.
Yeah. I didn't want to do the launch of the month every month. And, it was just
exhausting.
And I hung in for a while because of the clients and because of my team. I loved my team. I loved the clients. That was it almost could be a whole show, but that really was such a transition. But the lesson in that is for all of you listening, I think there's a point that when we reach some of our goals and dreams, we feel guilty about having more, especially as women, like, wow, I've reached my goal. And is it okay now that I see something else? and can I leave this now? And is that, I felt like for me personally, I was almost letting down God. I was like, oh, I thank you for my blessings and thank you for where I've reached. But now I want more. Is that okay? Is that selfish? Is it wrong? Is it, it was a bit of a personal transition there that I really had to own and decide, make a clear decision.
Yeah. Well, I know there's several of my clients and current members of our academy that are listening to this podcast, and they are completely in alignment with where you are right now, because they've shared with me that they are about to either sell their schools, successfully exit the business, wondering what's the next act. And this is a very powerful conversation.
Oh, what an exciting time for them then.
Yes. Yes.
That's when it's like, what is this really about? And what do I want? And what's the magic here? Right. And I think with everything going on in the world too, right now, we're all like, you know what, we're here to make a difference in whatever way we want. And the women are in such a great place to do that right now.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's fast forward and then I'll come back to these other questions, because I want to talk about and really dig into this notion that you've shared on your podcast about 2021 energetically shifting, and there's some numerology components to it, and there's a whole fifth dimension piece. And without going a little bit too woo-woo, yeah, because we do have guys listening to this podcast too, by the way. So
I'm going to start floating off the floor.
Yeah,
I know, but this is so cool. It's really cool stuff. But I'll go wherever you'd like to. You drive.
It's really cool. But I just want to talk about. I've seen you kind of talk about it as potentially the year of female entrepreneurship, or the year that. And I've been hearing this for a while, that women are starting to really come into their own over the last couple of years. And then we had this crazy pandemic year last year. So, but on the other hand, many of us have had incredible years. I mean, me personally, we grew our revenue by another 36%, and we did amazing things with our profit margin. So it was just an incredible year in the face of it all. And so now coming into 2021, why do you see 2021 being this evolution?
There's a few synergies happening. And so I will give the numbers if that's okay, because this is just super cool. And because numbers do have symbolism and meanings. And this is fascinating that 2020, if you're into numerology or interested in numbers and the symbolism of them, 2020 was a year of like work, order, restrictions, figuring things out, like literally. If you want to hear more about that, I go real deep on my show. Like, get ready, you have a glass of wine for that one, right? But 2021, symbolizes liberation, joy, like freedom. So there's been a transition here for us. And if you look at 2020, we figured out kind of what we were made of. We figured out how to take leaps from even within those restrictions we had, and like discard systems or formulas that may have not worked for us anyway, right? That's for the business, but also in the world. For example, the education, again, like I would have never made that decision unless I was kind of forced. It came up against me, right? And I was like, well, why don't we try this? Why not? It's the year to try it, right? So 2020 was kind of the year to figure things out. 2021 is the year now to set that clear intention for who you want to be, what is your great work in the world, and just go for it, because the energies are so supportive, and there's like planetary stuff going on and it's all this cool stuff. So when it comes back to women and this the divine feminine energy, like let's talk about first the practical and like historical significance of this for women right now, and then let's look at the energies too. So when women first came into the workforce in droves, it was really like the 70s, right? Pantyhose, floppy ties, like they fit into the male model. Right? Perhaps education was ahead of its time with so many women in it, but generally we fit into this business world decades ago. And then over time, the women are the ones who brought change. The women are the ones who came in and suddenly, we kind of created these new, maybe flex time and like different work schedules and being able to work from home and bringing meaning to the world of work. I've heard it said that was really a trait that women have brought to the workplace, like bringing meaning to work, and the men have learned from that. And by the way, divine feminine is in men as well. And it's this really honoring who we are and this humanness versus the doing in the world of work. So this whole shift today and this whole if you hear people say Age of Aquarius, and I will not sing the 70s song right now, but sometimes I feel like belting it out. And it's really moving into an age where we honor the feminine, where we honor the feeling into what we're doing and not just the doing, right? So the doing is, what does it look like on paper, right? Like that business I had, well, it works on paper. This is going to be the business. And some people still operate that way, and that's fine too. Some people like to be very separate with their work and then something else that brings meaning.
Right.
But women in particular, and a lot of the men that I do work with men behind the scenes. That didn't sound right, did it? But it's so connected. Like, we can't imagine having some business that isn't representative of who we are and the work we want to bring to the world. You don't have to, but it's so common with the people I attract. Typically, there's a great meaning to their work. And now is that time now to feel. So this whole fifth dimension, all this jazz you're hearing about, if you're still like, I don't understand what's going on. Basically, all it is we're finally honoring that faith and that feeling and that connection as a human being, that we can make our decisions from that place as well as on the paper, right? So for everyone to bring that in. And it's a very feminine trait. The intuition typically over time has been honored as a very feminine trait. And so it's the merging of all this together. So when you look at the world right now and all that, the world's trying to work out this as well. Systems are kind of bumping against each other and blowing up because they're not coming together where we're already going as people. And I'm getting a little meta, but, basically for women now, we already are built for this. We need to just start honoring it. And that's where really this year is going to be so powerful for the women, because generally now the world of work is so set up for us. Technology changed a lot for us, because that was the biggest barrier for women in raising a family. Like, typically they go in the career world, and if they did want to raise a family, they had to opt out, right? Then when tech came along and the internet, that started making it a lot earlier. They could start a business, work from home. Now, almost any job you could find, you can work from home now.
Right.
Even look at this, even early childcare, right, could now be a work at home type of business using tech. Or I have a feeling too, going forward, people are going to look for more small group, there's more of these pod type situations or neighborhood options. There's just all kinds of stuff. So it's the flexibility. 5D is also about seeing things not so linearly and black, white, up, down, right, left, but multi-dimensional creative problem solving, seeing things from different perspectives. And this is just how we're wired. This is just what we bring to the table. So I feel like it's going to be such an incredible time for us if we honor who we are.
I love that. And if you guys are listening to this, you know that most of your settings, your school centers, are predominantly women, with about 90% of you having all female staff. And that can get real interesting, Allie, as you might imagine. It can be, very hormonal, but also amazing of this energy if you can embrace it and get your female tribes inside of your schools, guys, to think about this and honor them and do a little bit more maybe female-oriented or women-oriented coaching or sharing sessions or innovation at the whiteboard type sessions, so that you guys can start trying to harness some of this and feed that amazing energy back into your schools. So I love that. Yeah. Really, really, really good. Let's talk about influence. You are a huge influencer in the world of entrepreneurship and marketing. You were on an ABC TV show, which was The Secret Millionaire. And your podcast is one of the top rated. And so I want you to talk a little bit about things you can share as you became more and more of an influencer. How can people just leverage little techniques that you may have learned as starting to influence the people around them?
I think, and this will be a good tip for those of you who run a business as well, is that, everyone's looking for certainty right now. And of course we can't guarantee anything, but I think I remember first hearing this from Dan, to throw him another bit of cred too, that, people are looking they want to hear confidence. They want to hear certainty. And when I work with women, typically in their marketing, there's a shift we need to make in how they're speaking and connecting. So for example, when I came into being a mom, I didn't know I don't know what I'm doing. Like this was all new to me. And I remember interviewing people to come help at the house with the twins because I was still trying to run the business, and basically just met Brett, right? I mean, like it was just like nice to meet you. Come on in. Like it was just insane. And I remember talking with these women, and the one that I hired. Now this is not particularly it's childcare, but wasn't But she it was the one that was so confident, and she said, I've been doing this for years, and here's what you need to be doing, and here's what we can do. Mm-hmm. And I remember here, I'm hiring you, right? Yeah. I'm hiring you. I needed to hear that confidence. And right now, this year, all of you, the parents who work with you, your team, they need to hear your confidence. Because when you look outside the door and all the craziness going on, right? And imagine that times 10, then you're wondering, you're also always second guessing yourself. Am I making the right decisions for my family? We're carrying so much weight. So if you can just help people feel better, lead them. People need leadership right now. And you may not think of yourself as a leader running a small business, but you are. Your team needs to hear that certainty. They need to hear the excitement. I'm a big believer in being, you can be transparent with your team, but you also need to stay strong and let them know, listen, we have some questions. We don't know what things may look like, but we're going to get through. Yeah. They need to hear that from you. And I think that is the best type of influence you can have, because your courage is contagious. Mm-hmm. And that will radiate out to your team. It'll radiate out to your clients. I know my clients shift when they work with me too. They just start speaking a little more strongly, getting clear on the type of clients they want to work with. Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to work with a certain type of customer or client, or specialize in a certain type of person that jives with your philosophies and how you should be running your business. So I think you're going to see also this year people getting clearer. And I'm tired of the word niche. It seems so old, right? It seems so, but really, I think there's been this whole gravitation with social to mass marketing, and you're trying to please everybody. And we've seen that social media does not bring people together, by the way. So, it's kind of like backlash to everything. Yeah. Now is the time to get very clear on what do you stand for? How do you feel you can lead? How do you feel you can help? What are you confident in? And really share that. And I'm sure you teach any of these strategies, Chris, and sharing good content and showing you're an expert in things. And I have a lot of women come to my door who are good experts, and they have a lot of content, but it's kind of owning it. It's an ownership now, saying, you know what? I may not know everything, but I can show you the way. And that's what people really need to hear from an influencer.
Love that. We spent the last week, I did a 7-day challenge with folks, and a lot of it was based on building confidence, Allie. And we do that all year long in our academy. We share wins every single call, every single meeting first, and we document our wins, because wins equals confidence. And so many of us, especially women, do not give credit to ourselves for the things we have accomplished. And we forget to focus on all of the amazing things we've done. And we just look at the stuff that's still on our to-do list or still broken. Yeah. And so carrying around that story of, not enough, or carrying around that junk, we work on getting people into that mode of certainty and confidence and speaking your expertise and really owning it, just like Allie said. So I love that.
Here's my whole thing. They're talking about you anyway. You may as well say what you're thinking. You know what I mean? Because when you really drill down to that fear, what it is, it's probably what people will think of you, or sometimes I'll have to do that in my own brain. Like, well, why don't I want to post this? Let me dissect this for a minute. Well, some people may be upset. Well, are they my clients? No. Are they the type of women I want to work with? No. Where do they come from? They probably came from when people followed me on Secret Millionaire and still think I give away bags of money. And, I have crazy social followers that I'm like, why am I on this platform when you argue with everything I say? So I just shut down, like Twitter, for example, because we realized it just wasn't, those aren't my people. And we need to really focus on a few other areas. So that translates to that confidence and certainty and getting clear on who you're going to work for. And what's great is when you get so clear on that, you don't question what you say. it's so interesting. Once I got clear on that, I don't hesitate to post something because I know this is for my people and they'll understand that. And this translates to any size business. If you're starting off, this may not be as clear to you, but as you get down the road, you're like, I know who my customers are, my clients, and I know what they need to hear.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is so freeing. I love that. I love when you said your courage is contagious. Absolutely a writer downer, because so many of our folks, not all money is good money. You don't need to accept all enrollments and all families at your school. Not all team members are a fit. And just framing it out as to what is a fit for you to drive your business forward in your life. And so I just love that. And having that courage, which all comes from confidence. That's what at the end of the day.
See, isn't that great? It's funny hearing these. I love talking to people from different industries, because you think kind of what you deal with in your industry is not in the other industry. And so, there are other clients that you occasionally take, and then you're like, you had a little weird feeling about, and then you're like, oh man, does that happen in your industry too with customers? And you're like, well, they were going to pay in full, and they were really nice, but I thought, and then, the clearer you get though, it's like this magnetic energy, and you start attracting just the right people. You'll figure it out. Those of you, if you're new at this, don't worry, you'll learn very quickly.
Yes.
Hard lessons, but you get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Final question, with regard to women and the guys, but in our industry, as you can imagine, it is an industry who we feel in the early childhood space has really finally gotten some long-deserved respect, because we did help America survive this crisis. We are there for essentials. We are there for the comeback of jobs, and coming out of any recession or any crisis, you got to have childcare for moms and dads to get back to work in this country. So with that, we are still facing a high level of stress and burnout. Yesterday, one of my coaches had 4 children come down, positive cases, and 2 teachers. And constantly people are shutting down classrooms and shifting people around and calling parents and dealing with. So it's all still,
I can't imagine,
at a very high level of stress. So any tips for, as we enter this season, which is going to be an amazing year, I think, but also we're still, I think, feel like we're tired. We're not quite there yet. What can people do for either self-care, which I kind of hate that word, or just ways to get through this?
I'm a fan of the occasional Xanax. This was the year, man.
Yeah.
Borrowed some of those from my mom. That's right in the back, I can't imagine. Wow. Day-to-day changes like that, and losing team and stuff. And, I think that I don't have a perfect answer, but this is what I've been telling my clients when they, and they have my direct cell phone and give me a call, and I'll say, listen, give yourself grace. I think we're not giving ourselves enough grace, because it's not only handling the problem, it's then worried, did I handle that correctly? That pissed that person off. Should I have done that differently? We're all figuring this out. And I think, just knowing that, right now may not be the perfect time, but whatever you did, it was perfect. Like however you handled it in that moment was okay. It was perfect. It was enough. What could you do different next time? Maybe some things. But, and then, see, your industry is just, I just can't imagine handling this right now and what you're dealing with. Those of us who are more in my space, we just lock ourselves up at home and don't deal with people. But it's so stressful. I just think, and this is so cliche. I hate even saying this, but having some quiet time alone, which is extremely hard. But even if it is just a bath, or I remember when we first moved here and everything was just bazonkers, I bought this was the biggest treat, is I bought one of those little teak shower seats. This is so sad to even share, but I was just like, everyone get out.
Right.
I'm going to sit on this teak shower seat in the shower, like sit my big butt. Was at the time sit my big ass in this seat in the shower with some eucalyptus, and just because it's the only place people wouldn't bother me. Right. So if it's those moments, and for God's sake, get off social media and turn off the news. You have enough stress right now. Get the information you need, but then you need to run your day. You need to start off being a leader. and leaders don't like react, right? Get the information you need. I'm sure your industry has things you have to keep up with every day, but then, you need to be there for those people in the strongest way you can. And that means enough sleep and eating right. And I know this may not be our best, workout year and being our best and all this stuff, but what could you do? What could you do for yourself? And, this sounds like, advice you get in like O Magazine stuff. So that's why I hate even saying it, because I can't imagine what your people are going through. Yeah. But I hope a little of that helps.
No, it's really, really good. I think it's having a constant reminder of ideas and things to remind folks that they have those resources at their fingertips, even if it's just a teak bench and a shower with some eucalyptus. And I think that's important. We got to do and or Xanax. Yeah, sorry. Whatever. It's fine. It's good.
I'm being real because look, this year, like ladies, if you need to, do what you need to do. I'm a fan of natural health, but like, for God's sake, like if you're having a meltdown or something, get some help. There's people that can help you. Like, let's all be honest. For some people, the teak shower bench will not do it. So you may need something stronger.
And this is dry January. And like you, I have noticed that my energy, it's been more difficult for me to sleep because I was running this challenge with 1,400 people, but so all of this energy that I was taking in during this challenge that ended yesterday, and the excitement of it, and not drinking. So I don't have the 2 glasses of wine to kind of chill me down.
Yeah. It's like the transition, to kind of,
So anyways, so we'll continue our dry January, and luckily we only have like 16 days left. So with that, how can people learn more about you, Allie, and follow you or get anything you want to offer?
Well, I'd love if you all want to come. The show, there are women of all industries and all levels love the show. Glambition Radio has a fun name, but we have very intelligent conversations, very incredible guests. And Chris, I'd love to have you on there soon as well, if we don't have you scheduled already. I do solo episodes where we go pretty deep on stuff going on and like how to, take charge of that and make sure that you're anchored and grounded. So you may enjoy those episodes, especially the last 2. If you just go to glambitionradio.com, that takes you to the iTunes version, alliebrown.com. I'm most active on Instagram. I think that's my happy place. Allie Brown Official on Instagram. And if you're in the 7-8 figures, come have a look, jointhetrust.org. We'd love to consider having you. What an incredible group of women. And Chris, it was great to have you come in.
It's great to be in that group. It's exactly what I was looking for. So it's a blessing. And those are amazing women. And I can't wait to meet them all and be with them in a month and a half. And with you, Allie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with me as my guest, my very, very, very special guest on episode 100.
I love that. I love it special. That's a manifesting number. I like it.
Yeah, you should feel special because I was so excited to have you on this and celebrate episode 100 with me. And your podcast was an inspiration for my podcast. So listeners will see some similarities. I do the little intro bit. I share about my family and my life like Allie does. And then occasionally I'll do a solo episode as well. So
perfect.
I just love your podcast so much. And I hope that people go over and check it out at glambitionradio.com. Allie, thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Hope to see everybody. Bye.
Okay. Ciao.